What is up everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel, Jurassic Collector here, and today I'm very excited to be taking a look at the Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous Soundstrike Sinoceratops. We finally have a proper Sinoceratops figure after the last 3 years since Fallen Kingdom came out. This is obviously from Camp Cretaceous, as you can see by the packaging. If you don't know what Camp Cretaceous is, it is an animated TV series on Netflix. I would highly recommend you watch the show. I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but I would highly recommend the show to any Jurassic fan. It was actually really enjoyable throughout. Up here in the top left hand corner we have the Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous logo, and then we have the Primal attack logo back there. We can see 2 arrows showing that the tail moves. We have a picture down here of the Sinoceratops in action, Soundstrike Sinoceratops, and we have Toro, Kenji, Brooklyn and Darius there, and we have the Mattel logo. Then up here we can see it says Netflix, an original series, and we have an emblem here that lets you know this figure does make sounds. And you can see the back of the packaging there is beautiful, and we actually do get to see that in Camp Cretaceous. That is camp itself. On this end of the packaging we can see the Primal attack logo there, and here in this other end we can see we have some more characters from the show, and we have the Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous logo. So we have Yasmina, Sammy and Ben. And then of course we have Bumpy the Ankylosaurus there as well. The back of the packaging is just your standard Jurassic World Soundstrike figure box, so we can see the Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous logo up here, and then it shows you here that the figure is Jurassic Facts App compatible. We have Primal Attack logo. We can see there's a little window here, and you can see there is that little pamphlet that's included there with the maze. We can see Sinoceratops and arrows showcasing the accent feature. Then we have another little smaller image here to showcase that it has double head strike, and you can see there's an emblem there to let you know that this figure does make sounds. Then we have the Pteranodon, and we have the Parasaurolophus, and I did review it on the channel, so you can check that video out by clicking the link up there. And then here we just have some more legal information and stuff like that. And at the bottom of the packaging we just have 2020 Mattel and the Amblin and Universal logo there, so there's nothing too important. There is the barcode in case you want that. So I got this figure from Amazon. My packaging came really beat up though, as you can see the card stock is kind of bent completely backward there. You can see it's not sitting right at all. It was all crashed up kind of here, and Toro's horn was all bent in. So without any further ado, let's get this awesome looking Sinoceratops out of the packaging. And here is the Sinoceratops Soundstrike figure out of the packaging. And on first appearance, I am really impressed with this, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing here. So first, let's take a closer look at the sculpt. You can see we have the head here. The head is actually really large on this figure, and we have some really nice just lines and creases kind of in the face area. We have the beak there that has some lines running through it as well. We have some kind of scaling along the top of the head here. Then when we get into the back part of the frill here, you can see all of these scales. We have some large scales, and then we have some finer ones. And we have some bumps here, so obviously we have a big horn there, and then 2 more there, and then we have horns running all the way across the head. It looks really good. The sculpt on the head is really impressive. This larger horn here has some nice lines running through it as well there. And we have the signature Sinoceratops holes there in the frill, which look great. The leg here has some really nice detail. We can see some bumps, and then some folds and lines running through it there. The toe claws unfortunately are not painted. The body there, you can see it does have a bunch of really nice detail there, and you can see some lines and creases and folds around the belly area and around the legs here as well, just to create kind of more loose skin almost, and it looks more realistic. You can slightly see the rib cage sculpted in there if you catch it in the right lighting, on all of the Mattel figures. And then you have some nice larger scales up here. Then you have some more bumps kind of on the legs here, and then lines in the back leg as well. There's some definition in the leg portion here, and you have some definition of musculature back here as well. Then here we have some really nice very large kind of bumps in the sculpt around this area, and you can see that there. You also have some lines there to make it look like loose skin. And the tail is nicely detailed. Towards the tip of the tail it does run into lines, and then there is no bumps on the end of the tail here. The bumps kind of finish out around this area here. And this side is the very same for sculpted detail, of course, and it looks great. I have to say the sculpt on this figure is honestly very impressive. You can see looking straight in from the front there, it definitely does look pretty intimidating. And then underneath the figure here you can see it is obviously lighter on detail underneath. There is just some lines kind of running throughout, and on the bottom of the feet there's just some texture, just to give it some texture. As you can see, some very light lines there running along the tail and the mid torso here as well. Of course, you have your foot stamp there that lets you know it is an official Mattel Jurassic World product. And there's the DNA scan code if you do want to scan it into the Jurassic Facts app. Now let's talk about the paint job on this figure. So, Sinoceratops was in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but this paint job is not exactly like the Sinoceratops in Fallen Kingdom. This figure is painted after the Sinoceratops in Camp Cretaceous. This is a light mint. I would say it's like a light mint, like more so blue than green. I'd honestly call it like a teal. Then the big horn on the nose here is painted grey, and that looks really good. The beak there is a nice dark cream kind of colour. We have some nice light cream pattern around the face and around the eye there, and you can see the eye is really nice on this figure. It actually is quite big, so you can see it on some of the other ceratopsian figures. The eye was quite small and you missed it almost, whereas on this figure they did definitely make it quite large so it will stand out, and they painted that black and they left a little dot in the centre there, and you can see the just kind of minty colour of the figure showing through there. The horns here are painted, as you can see there as well. The spikes are painted all over the frill, as you can see, which looks really good, except for this horn right here on the side of the face there and there is unpainted, but all of the others are painted. So that is probably the biggest letdown of the paint job of this figure, is them two spikes on each side of the face there are unpainted when all of the other spikes are painted, because it does look a bit odd that the rest of them are all painted and that isn't. Then here we have more of this light cream, and then we have like a nice orange kind of colour, and then we have more of this cream patterned throughout the frill here as well. And then we have a lighter colour again, so it's even lighter than this orange. I would say it's more of like a mustard yellow colour. And we have that here as well with the light cream, and then back down here again we have this orange with the light cream. Then here on the body we have this light cream that is prominent on the face there, so it is a nice light cream patterned a very small portion of the body. You can see very small portion. And for paint, that's it. There's no paint on the tail, no paint on the legs, and there is no paint on the underbelly either. So that is a shame with the lack of paint on this figure. It definitely is lacking paint. So one of my biggest complaints about this figure is definitely is lacking paint. There's a decent amount going on the face there, and then on the body you just have this portion of paint, and then that's it. Nothing anywhere else. The toe claws aren't even painted, none of them are painted. So that is my only big complaint with this figure, is the paint job. There just needs to be more. The paint job itself, the colours I really like. They are Camp Cretaceous accurate. The paint job is actually really nice if it had more. So you need more of this cream pattern on the legs here and on the tail. Even if the claws aren't painted, but just bring this down to even halfway through the tail and put some on the legs as well. It's just too bland. There's not enough going on in the body area. The head is nice, like I said, there's a lot going on with the head, but if you take that out, you've really no paint there. You have a bit of paint on the body here and then that's it. So it does need more paint on the body. Now let's talk about articulation. So the head is tied in to the action feature. The front legs here do go up that far there, and then they can go back that far, so they are obviously limited, but that's obviously all you need there. And then this leg is the very same. It only goes this far forward because the sculpt prohibits it from going anymore, and then it goes that far back. Then the back leg here can do an entire 360 degrees, and so can this leg here on the opposite side. And the back legs, like on most of the other figures by Mattel, do kind of pivot in and out there. Like you can see, both of the back legs do that, but the front legs do not. The front legs only go forward and back. And then the tail is also tied into the action feature. So that gives this figure a total of 4 points of articulation. So it doesn't have a huge amount obviously, but it is adequate. You only need it to really stand up like this anyways, because the head and tail are tied into the action feature. Now let's take a look at the action feature. So like all the other Soundstrike Primal attack figures, you can control the head through the tail and it will make sounds. So when you rotate the tail left and right, the head will rotate left and right, and then when you pull the tail up, the head will come up, and push the tail down, the head will go down. So let's take a look at the action feature and listen to the sounds. So I'm actually really impressed with the sounds on this figure. As you heard there was no carnivore sounds at all. As far as I could hear it, there was no carnivore sounds. It sounded all ceratopsian, which is amazing. This is a huge step in the right direction, because sometimes, Mattel has been notorious for including an Indominus Rex roar or a T-Rex roar on a ceratopsian figure, which obviously makes no sense. So this is a huge step in the right direction, that Mattel hasn't used any T-Rex or Indominus Rex sounds. It's all just ceratopsian, which is amazing, and I'm really, really happy. There is obviously some stomping sounds, as you heard in there as well, so I assume they had some sounds from the show, so they're able to use that in the figure, which is great. So now it's time for some comparisons. So we have the Sinoceratops here, and we have good old Dr. Alan Grant. You can see Sinoceratops is actually a decent bit taller than Dr. Grant here at the highest point on its back. Then when we put it next to the frill here, you can see obviously the frill is significantly taller. So I would actually say this is really, really good. Now, I'm not sure exactly what size Sinoceratops was. I will put a picture on screen, a comparison of a Sinoceratops next to a human. I'm not sure, but to my eye it looks decent. But it definitely is not super undersized like the Triceratops figures are. They actually made this a decent size, so I think they made this as big as they possibly could for the price point, and I do give them credit for that. They did a good job. And then we have adorable little Bumpy here. Now this Bumpy is completely oversized. It's in the show, Bumpy is not this big. She is definitely smaller. It does still look cool with the Sinoceratops. And then here we have Velociraptor Charlie with the Sinoceratops. Now Velociraptor Charlie was also in Camp Cretaceous, so Velociraptor Charlie and Sinoceratops. And then here we have Sinoceratops next to the Stegosaurus from 2018. Obviously Stegosaurus is a lot taller than Sinoceratops. I think these look really, really great together. Mattel is doing a great job bringing us a nice variety of herbivores and ceratopsian figures. Here is the Roarivores Sinoceratops. This is a Pachyrhinosaurus figure, but they changed it last minute. There's a huge change up in for Fallen Kingdom. You can search it up if you want to read more about it. I'm not going to explain it all here, but Sinoceratops is the name on this figure. However, it's not. It's a Pachyrhinosaurus. You can see in the head, it is completely different. Yes, they both have horns and they both have a frill, but Sinoceratops has holes in the frill there, and it has a massive horn on its nose. But I'm hopeful, if Sinoceratops is in Jurassic World Dominion, which I'm sure it will be, if it still has this kind of color scheme, I'm sure they will re-release this figure with that color scheme, which I would really, really like to see. So here we have Sinoceratops with the Carnotaurus. If you've seen Fallen Kingdom, you will know that these both have a fight on the island, which is really, really cool. I really love that sequence. So kids can finally reenact that scene from Fallen Kingdom, or toy photographers can finally reenact it as well, which is really, really awesome. So we have Sinoceratops and the epic roaring T-Rex. Now this is from the Camp Cretaceous line as well. I think this looks incredible. This is the best Rex from Mattel in my opinion. So that is it for this review. I do hope you guys did enjoy this video. So the Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous Soundstrike Sinoceratops. What do I think of this figure? Is it Jurassic Collector approved? Drum roll please. It is. This figure is Jurassic Collector approved. Honestly, the sculpt is incredible. Like I said, the paint job is definitely lacking. On the head, the paint job is really, really nice, but on the body, the paint job is honestly completely lacking. I feel like they definitely should have done more with the body, but I'm also thinking maybe because it is, as you can see, it is quite large for a Soundstrike figure. It is pretty large. So I'm wondering if, because it is a little bit bigger than your normal Soundstrike figures, is that why they had to cut the corners with the paint? I'm not sure, but I would like to see a repaint of this figure in the future, and I'm sure we will, especially for Jurassic World Dominion if Sinoceratops is in that. The sculpt is really impressive, like I said, and the sounds were great. They sounded like a ceratopsian, and the stomp sounds were also great, and it fits in with all of the other figures. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Mattel definitely did an awesome job with this figure. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button down below. That really helps me out and it lets me know you guys are enjoying my videos. And also don't forget to subscribe down below if you have not already. You're missing out. And click the bell icon so you will be notified every time I upload a brand new video. Just hit 7.5k subscribers recently, and that means so much. So thank you all for that. It really does mean a lot to me. So until next time, guys, thank you for watching. Peace out. Rah rah.